Thanks for joining me. I'm Jared Oliver, and we begin with Georgia State's president, Mark Becker, launches a new campaign for the university, and athletics is playing a huge part in that plan. Panthers look to extend their winning streak, playing against the top team in the Sun Belt, but yet lose another player. Only Primetime Sportz gives you that inside story. Let's get started. Primetime Sportz starts now. Georgia State's backfield takes yet another huge hit. It's been reported running back Kyler Neal will miss the rest of the season due to injuring his meniscus. The redshirt sophomore missed 8 games last season after tearing his ACL. Primetime Sportz correspondent and football analyst David Shilley joins me now. David, welcome. What more can you tell us about this injury?
Well, Doug Roberson for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported that Kyler Neal injured his right meniscus in the game versus Ball State, and he was trying to come back before the end of the season, but it looks like he's a no-go for the rest of the season, so he is out. And we've learned that Taz Bateman broke his forearm earlier this year, so he's also out. And it'll force a redshirt freshman, DeMarcus Kirk, and Kai Anderson, a true freshman, to step up at running back for Georgia State.
Okay, David, well, obviously this hurts their offense, so it doesn't seem like they have much left at the running back position. As you mentioned, Taz is gone. Kendrick Dorn hasn't played yet this season due to his knee injury. How much does this affect the offense?
Well, it affects the offense a lot because they've been trying to force the running game. Even though Georgia State is not a good running football team, they've had to rely on the pass simply because the running game isn't there. But they might just abandon the running game, and they might use it at the goal line when they're right there at the 1-yard line about to punch it in for a score. But other than that, they're going to be passing the football way more. Good thing they do have Donovan Harden back coming from that foot injury. They also have Penny Hart, Robert Davis, all those guys out there for Nick Arbuckle. And Nick Arbuckle's been a great gunslinger, averaging well over 320 passing yards per game. So it's not too bad. They can pass the ball, but it sucks to not have a running game.
Yeah, definitely, David. Thank you so much. I want you to stand by. We're going to come right back to you. Let's bring this up. Georgia State football heads to Arkansas State to face the 4-3 Arkansas State Red Wolves. Arkansas State has only lost 3 games, all from top 25 FBS teams. The Red Wolves are in first place in the Sun Belt. David, the numbers aren't stacking up very well against the Panthers. They lead the Sun Belt in interceptions with 15. They've lost to the number 8 USC Trojans, Mizzou, and number 20 Toledo at one point. I know this sounds like a humorous question, but how can Georgia State possibly win this game?
It's going to be very difficult for them to win this game. Arkansas State is a very good football team. I watched their game last Tuesday, and they went out there and ran the ball down their opponent's throat. They ran for 306 yards. They are a very powerhouse offense. And if you take away those 3 games against those 3 ranked opponents, they've won all of their games by an average score of 51-25. So if Georgia State's going to win this game, it's going to take firepower, and more firepower on offense. We've already talked about how they lost their running backs, and they're going to have to pass the ball a lot more. It's going to take a lot of that passing game to try to keep up with this high-scoring offense of Arkansas State.
Yeah, well, of course, the quarterback, Nick Arbuckle, he's the focal point of this offense, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more responsibility on his shoulders this week.
Definitely. It's all going to come down to what his arm can do. And luckily, Nick Arbuckle over the offseason worked on his mechanics, so he's made a lot more plays than he probably would have last year. He learned how to move his feet a little bit better, so if there's pressure in the pocket, he can escape the pocket. He can make plays, make throws on the run, which is huge. And this will all have to come into play tomorrow against Arkansas State, because if he can't gunsling like he's used to doing, it's going to be a very long day for the Georgia State Panthers.
All right, thank you so much, David Shilley. All right, well, the Panthers are 2-4 overall, coming off a 31-19 win over Ball State, and they're trying to ignite a win streak. Georgia State quarterback Nick Arbuckle speaks with Primetime Sportz about the key to winning ball games in the future. Primetime Sportz correspondent Nithin Nair reports. Nithin?
The Georgia State football team had a solid win in Coach Trent Miles' homecoming, beating Ball State 31-19. The team is now 2-4 and is looking to continue winning ways against Arkansas State this week. With the team's great win against Ball State, quarterback Nick Arbuckle credits the success to the offensive line. He believes that the play by the O-line will dictate what will happen in the run and passing game, and all in all, be a deciding factor in the team's performance against Arkansas State.
Continue to be able to execute, especially in the offensive line. We'll go as far as our offensive line can take us. They're the ones that opened up the holes in our run game. We have some really good backs that can find the hole and make plays happen. We have really good receivers that can get open down the field when I get the protection to be able to throw them the ball. And our offensive line has done a phenomenal job these past couple weeks in practice. And they've been getting better every single day. And so I expect them to carry that into the game and have probably their best game they've had all year.
With the bye week coming at the midway point of the season, Arbuckle sees it as a huge advantage for the team to recover and finish off the second half of the season strong.
It means a lot because it means a chance to be able to get fresh legs and be able to recover, get healthy, get some of the guys that were hurt to be able to come back, and then also be able to mentally prepare for the game a little bit longer.
With the game being predicted to have a 90% chance of rain, Arbuckle and rising star wide receiver Robert Davis see it as a huge advantage to practice in the expected conditions before hitting the road.
A big advantage, especially since we're a passing football team. We will run the football and we'll run it effectively, and that'll open up our passing game. But in the end, there's a reason why we're the #1 passing attack in their conference. And so being able to have 3 days of practice here with a wet football in these kind of conditions with a lot of wind yesterday, is a big advantage going into the game.
We're just making our adjustments as far as catching wet passes and holding on to the football in the rain so that when we go into the game, we can do the same thing.
Winning this game is vital for the Panthers due to the fact that Arkansas State is an in-conference opponent. Beating them would make the Panthers' in-conference record to 2-1 with 5 games left in the season. For Primetime Sports, I'm Nathan Nair.
All right, thank you so much, Nathan. Well, moving on to the Panthers volleyball, hoping and praying for better luck. This is what you need to know. The team is 4-16 overall and 0-10 in conference play. Yes, 0-10. Last season, the team finished with a 10-20 record. 8 of their wins came inside of conference play. The Panthers play tonight at 6 p.m. in the Sports Arena to host South Alabama. Thanks for being with me again. Remember, you can get all of the latest Georgia State sports news by subscribing to our YouTube channel at GSU Primetime Sportz. Remember to follow Primetime Sportz on Twitter at Prime Sports with a Z. I'm Jared Oliver. Have a great week.